Oh boy, what is going on? What's going on? What's going on, good peoples? Good peoples. Pastor Marshall is back in the house. Let me hook my mic in. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Y'all give me a mic check. Let me know what it is. How y'all doing this evening? Come on, talk back to a brother. Let me know who's in the house. Blessings to you all as we get ready to get this thing crack-a-lacking. Let me try to get on myself. Let's do this. Let's do this. Go ahead and get this thing crack-a-lacking on this Memorial Day. What's going on? What's going on? If you're out there, holler at a brother. Holler at me. Getting ready to get this thing crack-a-lacking. Go there. Good evening there, Rose. Blessings to you, Rose. How are you today? How was your day today, Rose? Ba, 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 ba. Get ready to get this thing crack-a-lacking. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, me and you locked in, so I definitely appreciate that. Hey, that's all good. Sometimes you got to do it. But I'm glad you had a great day. I did a few things last night. Once I got home, I did a few things then. But y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing going. I'm gonna try not to take up too much more of your time. But y'all know who it is, what it is. Pastor Arnel Marshall, I pastor Community Outreach Ministry, 2616 Ridgely Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. Real quick, can y'all tell me what I sound like? I ain't get a sound check. Somebody let me know what I sound like. Rose, high sound, because I got my mic on. I don't know if I sound low, if I sound what. Let me know real quick as I get this thing started. As Hammer say, let's get it started. Started. Okay, cool. Let's go. And so I'm Pastor Arnel Marshall. I pastor Community Outreach Ministry, 2616 Ridgely Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. I would like to extend happy Memorial Day to all who have served. This day is a day that used to commemorate and remember those who may have fallen in their duties of service, but we salute all. Thank you for all who serve. Good evening there, Brother Clark. Blessings to you. So again, we extend, our, salutes and salutations to all who serve currently. And, we definitely commemorate those who gave their life in service. My man, little E, would it be like E? You know what, E, I ain't even picked that up. I appreciate you putting that there. Blessings to you, bro. Much appreciated. But we're going to go ahead and jump this thing off, right? Normally how we start this thing off, we send up hearts, or we put hearts in the chat, because we want everybody to understand that this is adult, mature conversation, that, we don't act immature on this particular platform. We move in love. So we communicate in love. We may even disagree, but we're going to disagree in love. So we put the hearts up that lets it know that this is a room of love. And then also we send hearts up as our way of appreciating the fact that God has been good to us. It's another 7 days that God has kept us, and we are back together. So much can happen in between Monday to Monday. And so we give God praise that God kept us another 7 days. And so we're not ashamed to show love, and we send hearts up. And so let's do it, y'all. Today, man, I did something today that I don't get a chance to do too often. Today, I just rested. I really didn't do too much of nothing. This particular holiday and many other holidays, unfortunately, many of us still find ways to fill it with work, to do something. Most of us, for some reason, we don't know what rest is. Now, I'm not talking about people who are lazy, because lazy people, that's not even rest what they doing. They just being lazy. But I'm talking about people who legitimately, work, and they legitimately work to a point that they feel exhaustion. They feel fatigue. They feel tired. Those are the people that I'm talking about. But today I had an opportunity to just rest. And sometimes, my brothers and sisters, believe it or not, we need to just rest. We don't really need to do too much of anything. So today I was able to not only rest, I rested in body, mind, and you might as well say spirit. I really didn't do anything. I took a couple naps. I watched a couple of movies. I didn't do anything. But I want to ask somebody tonight, are you a person that's prone to push yourself to exhaustion? Are you a person that's prone to, just work and work and work and work and work? I heard somebody say, and so many people jumped on it when they said it. I thought it was crazy, but somebody said, "I'll rest when I die." I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't mind working and I don't mind working hard, but at the end of the day, there has to be some rest in it. Let's say you live 70, 80, 90 years, and you got that principle in mind that I'll rest when I die. Yeah, you're gonna be a little rough. Things gonna be a little tough for you. But for me today, I got a chance to rest. And one of the things I think people overlook is when their body is in a place, and it's trying to tell them something. Many people are fatigued. Many people are overweight. Many people are stressed, and many people are really taking on bad habits, really, because they don't know how to rest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Life for them is just a bunch of stress and a bunch of straining, a bunch of doing, a bunch of um, worrying, and all of these other things. But my brothers and sisters, can I just help somebody tonight? The body is a wonderful, wonderful thing that God has blessed us with. But at the same time, we have to learn how to um, do better with it, be responsible, more responsible with it, because at times it will show that we are overdoing it, that we are putting it through some things that we don't have to. So can I get somebody to holler back at me? Somebody that really knows that you push this thing, you push to the limit. Good evening there, Minister Lee. Thank you for joining me. How was your day today? Matter of fact, E, how was your day today, E? Um, you know, do you push yourself to a point that sometimes your body has to shut you down? Many people end up sick or end up having to be hospitalized because they didn't listen to their body. They didn't, you know, understand that they were running on, as we would say, not even empty. They were running on fumes. That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about, E. Good to hear that, and glad to hear that, Lee. And so many of us, what's crazy is many of us, well, many in my generation, I'm gonna say it that way. When we were coming up, we were pushed to kind of work early. Some of us was, going, and we had a newspaper route. Some of us was shoveling snow, cutting grass. Um, some people even tried to do the selling lemonade and all of that stuff. Those who from my community, we used to have this older man that used to come around the way named Mr. Logan. And some people, even young, would try to get a job with him and ride around and sell snacks and goodies and all that old stuff. But we were prone. I remember having a summer job at 12 years old where you had to get what was called a work permit, um, and so forth and so on. Many of us, we started working early, early. And so for some of us, we got in our mindset, just a working attitude. And work is not a bad thing. Overworking can end up being a bad thing. Work is not a bad thing, but overworking can be a bad thing. I know, Minister Lee, telling my age, but Rose says, I think you're talking about me. I have issues with my breathing, but yet and still I choose to deep clean my carpet myself and went straight to the hospital that night because I couldn't breathe. Yet, and some of that, Rose, is like understanding that, some things I can do, but some things I think I might have to let somebody else do, to not overwork myself or put myself in danger, because yes, I can do it, but is it safe for me to do it? Maybe it's something that didn't have to be done that day. Maybe, you know, next week or something like that. Um, Depending upon circumstances, situations, sometimes we have to really, really take into consideration, especially myself and, those of my generation. We're not spring chickens no more. And we are not so easy to get over things like we used to, easy to heal, and all of these different things. So we have to, as a man told me years ago, learn how to work smarter, not harder. And, you know, so many of us are pushing ourselves, pushing ourselves, pushing ourselves. And we make excuses for the pushing of ourselves. So and so needed me, such and such. But let me tell you this. Those same people that you say need you, they'll find a way if you land in a coffin. They'll find a way if all of a sudden you are incapacitated. And a lot of those people that will push you won't even be there if you are incapacitated. You need some help, you need some assistance. And I'm not telling anyone to not be a giver, because giving a lot of times takes you beyond what sometimes can be normal. Sometimes a giver just gives. But even with being a giver, you have to be careful with being a giver, because of course, if takers have the chance to, they'll take and take and take and take and take, and not even consider or worry about what it may do to who it is that they're taking from, scheming from, whatever. And so tonight, I just, for a little bit, I just want to just wanted to talk a little bit, because I believe some of us, there was a phrase back in the boating days where they would say the ship is taking on water, and that means um, that's not a good thing when the ship starts to take on water. The ship is supposed to stay on the water, but it ain't supposed to start having water coming in. And when water is coming in, that means there's a problem. And soon, if that problem is not corrected, this boat is going to end up under the water. And so many of us in our lives, we are taking on water. We are stressing ourselves out. I mean, just the economy alone today can stress people out. I mean, stuff is higher than it's ever been, but jobs are slow to up your pay so that you can be able to. We were looking at a um a place, and the place said $2,500 a month for a 2 bedroom. 2,500 a month. That just that kind of hit me over the head a certain way. 2,500 for a 2 bedroom. Good evening, Minister Hicks. Thank you for joining me. How was your day? I said, my God. And I wanted to get in there so bad to see the size of these rooms. You're gonna charge 2,500 a month for a 2 bedroom. That's more than most of us who pay mortgage. 2,500 for a 2 bed. No, 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 no. But the thing is, they're gonna get it. People are gonna pay it. This is the type of society we in. But most of those people, or maybe some of those people, they're gonna have to work to get that 2,500 a month. Some of them may have to team up with someone else to work to get that 2,500. Good. I'm glad you had a good day, Minister Hicks. And this is the society, like Many of us are paying astronomical prices for things that honestly is not even worth the price that a lot of times people are charging us for it. Um, I remember, you know, cars, you could get a good car for around $5,000, $6,000. Now that same car is like $15,000 and $20,000. It's like, that's crazy. But that's the times we live in. And what's crazier about it is it's only getting worse. It's not going to get any better. There's not going to be a time when it's going to go back. Everything can have throwback. Like, you can have throwback clothing and throwback days, throwback pictures, but they ain't having no throwback prices and, and throwback economies and all of this type of stuff. Everything is going forward. So with everything the way that it is, and making us have to work much harder to get, or just sometimes to survive, what is your plans um, going forward in this thing called life? I have learned the blessing of being able to sometimes just take a chill pill. And today was one of those days where I just chilled out, and it felt good. So let me hear from somebody tonight, because it's a little quiet in the chat tonight. You know, um, some of you, is it quiet because you are one of those people that every hour of the day you find something to do, like you feel like you missing out on something if you just chilled, you just took a deep breath? When was the last time, for those of you who have a vehicle, you just took a drive, a ride, just got away from the norm, that everyday hustle and bustle? For some, if you don't drive, maybe, you just went out and just went somewhere just to see something different. you know, that was one of the things I used to do back in the day here and there. I knew when stuff was really on me, because I would get kind of agitated and irritated, and so I needed a outlet. So sometimes I would just catch the bus and I would just ride. You know, sometimes I would just make sure the bus was going somewhere that would take a little bit, and I would just ride to the end, get back on the other bus and come back. And a lot of times that would be enough to kind of ease some of the anxiety, some of the craziness that might have been going on. I was very active in basketball. Basketball was my therapy. At one point in time, basketball was everything to me. If you wanted to find me, you would find me on somebody's basketball court, morning, noon, evening, and night. Most of the time I was on the basketball court. I didn't know it then. I just felt like I loved the sport, but I didn't know it then that that was my therapy. I came to understand that it was my therapy, because that was the only place a lot of times that my problems didn't matter, that I could go there and, man, and it feel like the rest of the world didn't exist. This was the world right here. And it was a good place, because you have a little bit of your drama when you hoop, and you have a little bit of your haters. You have a little bit. So you had a little bit of everything that the world has, all in one, all in this particular arena. But nobody was trying to kill each other. It was just in a certain way that I can't probably explain it efficiently, but it did what it needed to do to keep me in a place. But what do you do? What are some of the things you do when you feel as though you overwhelmed? Because you can't tell me you don't get overwhelmed. Everybody gets overwhelmed at some point. When you feel stressed and stretched and overworked, and sometimes underappreciated, underpaid, what do you do? Because when your boat is taking on water, most of us, that's when we find out just how serious the problem is. It's when we start to take on water, when we start to see that the problem has gotten to a place that I overlooked for so long, but now I can't overlook it. I have to deal with it, and I have to deal with it fast. So, is there anybody out there that's going to talk back to me tonight that, what are some of the things you do? Good evening, Deacon Smoot. What are some of the things you do when you feel like you are, tonight we're going to be boats and you taking on water? You in a situation where I got to deal with this. And for many, if you don't know that place, again, I just described it in certain facets, like when you angry and it feels like sometimes for no reason, when you irritated and it seems like it's no reason, when you eating and it seems like there's no good reason, you anxious, your anxiety is going crazy. It seems like all of these are signs that you could be in need of rest, that your body is crying out, that you're weary, whether it's your physical body or it's your mental. Sometimes these are the signs that are letting you know that you need a rest, you're weary, that it's time for you to maybe just, hit the pause button and get your faculties in order, get your body in order, get your emotional state back to a stable place. Because many times people go farther and farther and end up in some, mental conniptions, some emotional conniptions, places where now you got to deal with medication, or now you have to be put on in a place where you have to do certain things when your body was trying to tell you a little while ago that, yeah, you need to take a break, you need to take a rest. Rose said, I used to cry my eyes out. Now I turn on my gospel and talk to God. Yeah. Rose, before I really got to like gospel, I used to listen to R&B. I used to get real bad migraines, real bad migraines. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I don't get them too much anymore. Every once in a blue. And I can tell when I'm super stressed or my anxiety is like crazy because one may be coming on. And I know that it's time for me to, you know, do something different. And so for me, Rose, R&B used to be my thing. I used to turn the lights off. We used to call it soul music then. And I would put something smooth on. And then I got into jazz because jazz was a way of just the instruments and not too much words. It was just the instruments. And I love music, period. So it ministered to me at a time when I wasn't, I didn't even know anything about being ministered to. E says, I work for housing. Dealing with these tenants is stressful, but when I come home, I relax myself because I live alone and I don't have to worry about no kids or anyone. Take a shower, fix something to eat, and watch there you go. And E, I love that. That's a lot of people don't even look at that, but that's like a schedule. That's like, yeah, I schedule what I need to do, but then I schedule what I need to do for me. And many of us miss the me part because we schedule what we need to do. We know we need to work. We need to make sure our children's straight. We need to make sure, sometimes siblings or friends and things. But many times we miss us. And I love the fact how you said, you come home and you basically have this routine that's for you. I take me a shower. Yeah. Cook me something to eat and I relax. And many people are not taking advantage of opportunities to be able to relax. What's crazy is, right? Like, even those of us who are believers, we will, be absolutely killing ourselves but then be praying to God, God, give me strength. Give you strength for what? To keep beating yourself up? God, give me the power to get through this, to get through this only for you to still do the same things, keep putting yourself in places of mental fatigue, mental and emotional fatigue, physical. Sometimes God is supplying your need, and that's your need to sit down for maybe a couple hours, sit down for, a little bit, read a book. I remember I used to read street novels, and it was crazy because street novels would take my mind somewhere that would get it off of the everyday hustle and bustle. It's like every day we program to do the same things, and it gets monotonous. It gets, regimented to the point that you can almost just close your eyes and do the same thing. Get up, da 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 da. But at the same time, we are stressing and wondering how, because sometimes it's just the same thing. Sometimes like I try to encourage people, take vacations. You know, take a vacation, see something different. If you don't have the money for a vacation, take a weekend. If you don't have the money for a weekend, man, go to the movies by yourself. Take yourself to eat. You have to see something different. Um, Many people, and E might know this, E, Cherry Hill was a blessing to me. Living in Westport, Cherry Hill, I would get over, get behind the hospital, and I would just sit there by the water. Sometimes I still do that, and people always on my job, they always laugh at me and joke me because they'll see me. I take pictures by the water a lot, and water has always had a way of calming me. It has always had a way of, in a sense, balancing things out. So I would get over by the water. I, sometimes I would crab, sometimes, just sit there. Um, and sometimes you just put your feet in, and it just would do something for me that when I came back, I was energized. I was different. But at the same time, this is what's crazy. At that time, I didn't know that it was therapy. It was just something I thought I liked to do. But it was really therapy. It was really helping me to cope with the different challenges and changes that was going on in my life at that time. Now I understand it to be moments of therapy, but then I didn't know that. I just figured it was something that I was doing and something that I like doing. And so tonight, many of us, we are in places and spaces where we're taking on water. And as believers will pray and ask God for things, only for things that they're going to use improperly. Listen at what Jesus said, right? Jesus was saying to his disciples, he said, come unto me. He was basically not just saying it to his disciples, but those who was around at the time. He says, come unto me, all who are weary and burdened. And guess what he says? And I will give you rest. Come unto me, all who are burdened and weary, and I will give you rest. Jesus was saying that, at some point, you're gonna need you're gonna need a chill pill at some point. Even Jesus, this is what's crazy. Jesus was the best there is, but yet and still, you can see Jesus taking breaks. Good evening. Um, he would take breaks. He would steal away. I mean, he would go up in the mountains to pray. He went down in the lower part of the boat, went to sleep. You know, one particular point he went through was called Samaria, and the Bible says he rested at a fountain. He rested at a well. And he shows us different times where there are different times you're gonna need rest. that you're going to need to just put a pause. It's nothing wrong with taking a pause, taking a chill pill. Some of us, we don't realize this is why you're so aggressive, so angry. This is why you're so impulsive. You taking on water. This is why you, you can't seem to understand things. Your mental just won't let you cycle through things fully. You taking on water. Many people will not understand the connection between their stress and them overworking themselves. You think it's the people or this. No, it's the constantly running, constantly doing this, constantly being in this, constantly taking this. Sometimes when a phone call is coming, almost 99.9% of the time what that phone call is going to be about. So sometimes you can just make the decision like, nah, I ain't talking today. Sometimes you can read it right in the text. I need that. Boom. No, I ain't dealing with that today. Sometimes when you at work, I know you like that OT because that OT allows you certain, but sometimes you got, nah, you know what, y'all can have it today. I'm gonna go home and chill out. These are things that will absolutely help you to stay in a place where your body is not now showing the signs of taking on water, because now you're starting to be sick. Some people, the first stages is you keep getting colds because your immune system trying to tell you that something going on, something is going on, something is breaking down. Even though I'm not the best at eating, I'm not the best at exercise and things of that nature, I very rarely get sick because I take time to let my brain breathe. I take time to let my emotions to try to come down. Sometimes you so psyched up and jacked up over certain things. You got to let that stuff get off you. You got to find you a place, find you something that will allow, I come up from the era when we used to live in houses that had radiators. And sometimes you had to bleed, what we call bleed the radiator. So sometimes you had to get your screwdriver and turn just enough so that it would release the pressure out of them radiators. Because if not, those radiators could always be either in danger of blowing or in danger of just basically giving out because they're just taking on too much. And so sometimes you had to just turn it just a little bit to bleed it. And sometimes it would have a little drainage coming off, a little bit of water coming off, but then sometimes just be steaming, loud noise, because it had a whole bunch of pressure built up. And for some of us, man, you'd be surprised who you will be or who you could be if you just got some rest. you know, this was a 3-day weekend for most people. And most people was like, nah, I'm gonna get that holiday pay. I'm gonna get that overtime. I'm do this. And sometimes, yes, we get the money, but we also get some things along with the money that we wasn't counting on. Sometimes, that money has to go right away, going to CVS or Walmart, getting some medicine and all of this type of stuff. So, y'all, tonight, I just wanted to maybe encourage someone to maybe pay attention to what your body may be saying. Maybe you've been having headaches lately. Headaches could mean that, you deficient of water. Headaches could mean that you've been stressing, you know, and headaches could be a sign that there's something going on in my body that I'm not paying attention to. And sometimes you just gotta rest. Sometimes you gotta rest. It's no excuse for most of us why we can't rest. No excuse. Most of us, you can take a day. You got a sick day or vacation day. You can take a day, and I don't mean take it because you got to go to somebody's funeral. Take it because you got to go to somebody's graduation or something like that. All of that is cool. But I'm talking about a day where you can turn the alarm clock off. You can turn the phone off. You can turn the TV off and just pull the covers and just say, I catch up with everybody when I catch up with them. Most of us, we can't even fathom that. We can't even think about that. That is not even what you would consider a normal thought in most of our mentals, most of our lives. Right now, I'm probably not making sense to mostly everybody that's listening to me, because we are not conditioned to understand that we need to take care of us. I got a quote here, right? And my quote says, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let your weary soul breathe. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let your weary soul breathe. Sometimes just allowing you the opportunity. I remember back in the day, they used to have this commercial, and the commercial would say, Calgon, take me away, you know, and it would be this person sitting in the tub and they just blocking the world out, all this stuff going on, but they sitting in the tub just chilling. Sometimes that's where we got to get. Sometimes we got to turn everything else off, because we trying to be everything for everybody else and then nothing to ourselves. We'll we'll get to us when we get to us. But most of the time we get to us when we're made to get to us, when we have to get to us, when something is wrong and going on, now you get to you. But we there for everybody else. You know, some of us, we're going to have to learn how to say no. No is a complete sentence. No. Some of us are going to have to learn how to, they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out. Most of us would be surprised to realize we're only important to certain people because we give them what it is that they want from us, and not always what they need from us. Some people need from us leadership. Lord have mercy. I'm going to get tight real quick, then I'm going to get off here. Some people, honestly, they need leadership from us. They need to see somebody who's balanced and disciplined, not somebody who can continue to support their bad way of thinking, their bad way of living, their bad way of going about things. No, sometimes you got to be the person to show them, no, the buck stops here. No. Let me show you how it really supposed to be. Let me show you that you can be disciplined. Let me show you that you don't have to be crazy and all over the place. That's really what some people need from us. Not for us always to come out of our wallet, to run out of our houses and all of these things. Some people just need leadership, because they're in an environment where nobody is willing to be a leader. Everybody doing the same thing, ending up sometimes the same places. Sometimes you end up on top of the bottom and people think they somewhere. They really ain't nowhere. You know what I mean? They all doing the same thing, but sometimes you end up on top of the bottom. So you feel like, because you got mirrors on your wall in the living room and somebody just got a little picture on theirs that you better than, all the stuff that people get into and feel like they're a little better than other people, when no, we all in the same place. You just got maybe a little bit more than me, but we're in the same place. We need somebody to show us that this ain't it. You can live anywhere. Let's not get that twisted. You can live anywhere. It's the mentality that needs to be mature. The mentality, like I come from the projects, but everybody in the projects wasn't, as they would say, hood and ghetto and and disrespectful and all of that stuff. No, some people was just as educated, disciplined, I mean, mature, focused, all of that. But most of us wasn't conditioned to accept them. We were conditioned to try to joke them or ignore them because they seem like squares. They seem like suckers. They seem like, they was too good, trying to be white, all the different other things we said about people like that. When a lot of times those people had it going on. We was the ones running around like chickens with our head cut off, doing anything and everything, calling ourselves trying to make it. When really all we was doing was just going around in circles. And sometimes you end up on top of the bottom. And so, some of us, it's time for you to get a rest, man. It's time for you to take a chill pill. You ain't had enough of the grapevine. I mean, your phone be blazing because everybody want to tell you nonsense. I'm so happy these days that my phone be, a lot of times it be quiet. It'd be quiet. I used to feel some type of way like, dang, don't nobody holler at me, don't nobody, keep me in the loop. But I'm happy because I'm not a dumpster. I don't want trash. Keep taking on trash. I'm not a dumpster. I want to be a person that, yeah, I can bring some type of maturity, some type of maybe even some type of fun. Sometimes I can be a little fun, a little funny, but that's what I want to bring to the table. I don't want to bring trash and foolishness and nonsense. I done had those days. It got me nowhere. It got me nowhere. But yet and still people will feel like they are missing out because they don't know what's going on in this person's house or this person's relationship or this person's, finances. Man, for real, miss me with all that. Miss me with all that. But some of us, I need you to really look at yourself. Take a real good look at yourselves and see if you've been taking on water. See if you've been tight and it's because you just won't give yourself a chance to rest. See if you've been agitated and short with people because you frustrated because you've been working yourself like crazy and and now you as we would say back in the day, you ornery. You being ornery with people. You unreasonable, sometimes unbearable, sometimes unlikable. Come on, get that rest you need. Got a holiday? Sometimes just take it. Sometimes just chill out. Like I ain't going nowhere. I ain't go to a cookout. I ain't worried about no cookout. I just chilled out today. Sometimes just I don't know what tomorrow and the rest of the week is going to bring. So I was able to get some rest today because maybe I need this energy for the rest of the week. Maybe I need this energy right here for the rest of the month. And so since I had an opportunity to take it, I took it. And I ain't mad about it either. I ain't mad at all. So y'all, that's my moment on Monday tonight, y'all. Taking on water. Come on, y'all, check yourselves. Make sure you ain't taking on water. Make sure your boat ain't sinking. Sometimes some captains didn't know that their boat was taking on water until, it was at a dangerous level when they realized that it was taking on water. So hopefully some of you will catch it. Maybe it's just a puddle down in the bottom of the boat, or maybe you just starting to see some cracks and you're able to take care of that before you really start to take on water. But then some of you, yeah, we might be in a place where we got buckets and we throwing that water out. But whatever it is, I pray that, we all would be in a good place mentally, emotionally, and physically, because man, life can be something. Life can be something. And you know how they would say, when it rains, it pours. Man, I don't know what tomorrow may hold. So today, I'm taking care of what I need to take care of today. And today was a day of rest. I'm Pastor Arnel Marshall. I pastor Community Outreach Ministry, 2616 Ridgely Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230, every Sunday at 11 o'clock. We're in the calm. Man, it's never calm in the calm. So if you have an opportunity, you're not church, you're not saved, come on through. Come on through, whoever you are. Come on through. 11 a.m. every Sunday. 2616 Ridgely Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21230. If you're not able to make it physically in the building, we do offer online. Thank you, Deacon Smoot. I'm very much so. I might have got too much rest, Deacon Smoot, because I took a couple naps. I woke up early, then I went back to sleep, then I woke up, watched me some Bruce Lee movies. I watched like 2 Bruce Lee movies. Then I went back to sleep, and then I got up around 6:30 and got myself prepared to do this. So I'm well rested. So, but we offer online, Facebook, YouTube, Community Outreach Ministry is the handle that you type in on either one of those, and you can find us every Sunday at 11. I thank you all for joining me tonight again. We send out our salutes to those who are serving, and we definitely remember those who served, but they lost their lives in the midst of their service. We remember them on today. Happy Memorial Day to you all. I pray that God will continue to bless us with good health in this season, whomever we are, wherever we are. Pray that God will give us good health in our mental, in our emotional, and in our physical. I pray that God would continue to open doors for us that no man can shut, and shut doors that no man can open. I pray that God would draw us closer, that he would bring us in closer to him. He said, those of us who are weary, those of us who are heavy laden, those of us who are burdened, says we can come to him. So I pray that he draw us closer so that many of us can benefit from what it is that God has for us. Y'all have a good one. Y'all know what time it is. I gotta give y'all a little DJ Deke, 1200 every Sunday at 7 to 9. It's called The Den. Every Sunday at 7 p.m. to 9. He offers a program where if you need some rest, if you just need a couple hours just to chill, you can join in. I guarantee you, you're going to have fun. We're on YouTube having a ball. But he is the guy that helped me with putting this song together. In fact, I'm going to start it from DJ Deep did this, so if anybody DJ Deep 1200 on YouTube, put him up. I'm man. Y'all know what time it is. Peace.